Howdy, roofers, and welcome to Roofer Growth Hacks, the podcast that's dedicated to highlighting those in the roofing industry, learning how they overcame growth challenges with creative growth hacks, and connecting them with others in the roofing industry. I'm your host, Chris Hunter, founder and chief growth officer of roofingsites.com. I'm also the author of the Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. All right, so this is going to be the July state of marketing for roofers. If you haven't been following me, we've been doing a monthly state of marketing for roofers for quite some time now. And the reason behind that is because it is such a fast-moving industry, marketing in general. And with the introduction of AI into the whole mix, it has just gotten even harder and harder to keep up with, for most roofers. So we decided a long time ago to go ahead and do a July state of marketing. And basically, we're just going to bring you the big things that you should be thinking about in this next month to a quarter. Okay. So speaking of quarters, the very first thing that we're going to talk about today is we're in a new quarter now, right? July starts quarter three. We're quarter three of 2025, and we've officially started it. Have you set your quarterly rocks yet? Right? What are rocks? Well, rocks are these things that big projects that are possibly take you 1, 2, 3 months, right? But move you towards your goals for the year. So typically your rocks are things that you set that are based off of your goals that you set, hopefully in December or January. Okay. And if you continue following me, we're going to talk a lot when we start getting into December, November, December, January timeframe. We're going to start talking about goals for the next year and how to set those goals, right? But let's assume that you did set your goals. What are your big 3 things that you need to accomplish this quarter to push you forward towards your goals? Okay. Well, is that setting up a new marketing campaign? I call new marketing campaigns, by the way, poles in the water. I equate that to something kind of like fishing, right? I mean, a lot of us like to go fishing. I like to go fishing. When I go fishing, I don't just go fishing with one pole. Okay. I like to set multiple poles up, right? So that I can ensure that I maximize getting the maximum amount of fish. Okay. Just kind of makes sense, right? Marketing is very, very similar. Every single marketing avenue that we completely dominate, we set up, we fine tune it, we optimize it, we start dominating, right? We start accelerating the amount of leads that we're getting through that channel. It just makes sense to take the money that you're making from that channel and either double down in that channel or set up a new one, right? So maybe this quarter you might be wanting to set up a new marketing campaign, say, if I would start here. Okay. If you don't have your marketing channels set yet, where you get a constant lead flow in through Google, I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you get those going first, then work on other avenues in marketing, such as social media, right? Everyone knows about social media. And honestly, most roofers that I talk with, and I've interviewed thousands of them, most roofers concentrate on, Facebook and Meta ads, or Facebook and Instagram ads on Meta. Okay. So the problem with that is that people aren't going to those channels to look for you. They're going to Google. Okay. And so I would highly, highly recommend that you get your channels working inside of Google first. And there are 4 spots there, right? You've got local service ads, you've got pay-per-click ads, you've got Google Maps, and then you've got Google Organic, good old Google Organic. Okay. What I started out with in the industry 20 years ago. All right. So that would be my first step. If you don't have those channels really set up, I would make that a rock for this quarter to get something working correctly in that. Now, if you don't know how to do that, I have done all sorts of workshops on that. You can go to our YouTube channel and go watch exactly how to set up. Last month I did a Google Ads workshop. I've done a Google Maps workshop this year. I've done a Google Local Service Ads workshop. I've done a Google Organic, right? SEO, traditional SEO. I've done workshops on these. So just go to our channel to go really figure out how to do this if you want to do it yourself. All right. So the other thing that you want to consider as you're thinking about all of this is what what were the wins? What were the marketing wins from quarter two, right? And should you double down on any of those, right? So if you notice, let's say that your local service ads are really working and you're working on kind of a smaller budget, why don't you double that budget, right? See what happens. Do a small test for a month, 2 months, see how it goes, okay? A lot of marketing is testing, and most of marketing, honestly, is testing, okay? So the other thing to consider is what's not working, okay? Sometimes marketing campaigns just don't work, and sometimes you might need to cut them, and that's kind of what I was talking about with those Facebook ads or Instagram ads. What I recommend with those, by the way, is to, instead of setting those up as regular lead ads, like you're going to a cold audience, I would set those up, and this is how we do it at roofingsites.com. We set them up as retargeting campaigns to get more people into the funnel that have already been through the funnel or started through the funnel. Okay. So meaning that if they came to our website, if they went to our Facebook page, if they went to our Instagram page, any of those things, right? And they interacted, your ads are going to follow them around, right? Because now at that point, they're now a warm audience because they already know you exist. They just need to get to know, well, they already know you, right? But they need to get to like and trust you at that point. Okay. So it's just about that's all that you need to do with that. Okay. Now, I would highly recommend that you go ahead and update all of your campaigns, no matter what your campaigns are, with messaging that reflects this upcoming summer season, right? Here in Texas, that's where I'm at in College Station, Texas. It's hot. It's already summer. We've been in summer since, oh my gosh, 2 months ago. Okay. So, if you're up north, you're probably really just starting to see the summer season, but make sure that your messaging campaigns, your messaging on your campaigns actually reflect this new season. Okay. And make sure that you're talking into your target audience. Okay. So the next big thing that I want to talk about is Google's dominance over. You heard me just talk about that. The first thing that you need to get, set right is your Google campaigns, right? However, there's this new thing out there, and it's been out there for now 2.5 years at this point. Right? The rise of ChatGPT. A lot more people are starting to use ChatGPT and AI search in general, including like even Google search itself, right? But a lot of people are starting to transition over to using ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude or Gemini, deep search. I mean, there's all of these things that are out there that people are using. So how do we as roofers get in front of those people? How do we make sure that we stay in front of those people? How do we adapt? And that's really what this whole topic here is about adapting. Because if Google's dominance is over, we have to shift. In marketing, we have to shift. And that's part of my 4R marketing system, right? My 4R roofing marketing system is that, if anything stops working, you replace it with something that is inside of the reach pillar. And this is the reach pillar right now that we're talking about. Okay. So it's critical in business that you adjust. Okay. So if this is the new thing that's out there, we're calling it AI SEO. Some people are calling it AEO, right? AIEO, right? There's all sorts of terms for this at this point because the whole industry, the marketing industry, hasn't completely decided on exactly what that name is going to be. But just know I'm going to call it probably AI SEO, AI search engine optimization. And it's just, again, getting in front of more people today than knew about us yesterday. We're just shifting. How do we do that on ChatGPT? I got a huge checklist that we use here, that we have been using and testing over the past 6 months to a year, because we saw this coming down the road, right, for our clients. So, it's critical that you stay in front of it, right? And what that really means, okay, and what it really comes down to is that if you're relying on one channel i.e., and I call it a channel, but it's really got 4 different avenues that you can get, 4 different poles that you can have in the water with Google itself these days, right? But for the most part, it's still one entity. It's Google. Okay. And think back in the day, right? When I first went into business, Yahoo was the big search engine, and that really dates me, but in the early 2000s, Yahoo was still the big dog on the playground. And then this thing called Google came around, right? And really Google has dominated really for the past 25 years in the search engine market because it was better. Well, guess what? ChatGPT is getting better, and people are really recognizing that it's better for a lot of things. And as they're already in it, and as they're already integrating it into their lives as an assistant, which is what you want to start thinking of ChatGPT as, right? An assistant to you. As they are doing this, I think that us in the roofing industry, we really need to start exploring these different platforms and figuring out a way to do this. We've got a huge checklist in-house on how exactly to do this. And it's really helping our clients out to get in front of more and more people through ChatGPT. And it is very, very similar to how you rank inside of Google Maps. But I'll just leave it at that. You need to start thinking about these things and start asking your marketing team how you can get on ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity, right? Those are the big ones. Gemini is the other one that's out there. Okay, so the next big thing that I want to talk about is something that I'm seeing in the industry and something that we talked about with Ryan Groth at the beginning of this year. And what he said, and Ryan Groth is a sales coach for roofers. Highly, highly recommend him. If you don't know him, I highly recommend that you do get to know him and get in his world because he will help you and your sales team. Okay, but what he said at the beginning of this year, with all of the tariff issues, with all of the things that are coming on in the United States, and I don't want to get too political on this, and I've talked about this in other podcasts, but things are shifting, right? Things have shifted. Consumer behavior has shifted, and it's getting harder to do sales. Okay. So what does that mean on the sales front? And the reason I'm talking about this is because marketing and sales are very, very closely knitted. Okay. Your marketing is not going to work without a good sales system in the back end. Okay. So what I see with a lot of our clients are breakage essentially in 2 main areas. First one is in intake. Right. You have to make sure that you're answering every call, that you're setting the appointment, that you have some sort of a backup system in place that if you cannot answer the phone, then somebody else does. Okay. We have an AI sales assistant in place for most of our clients at this point. That was our Q2 rock, was to roll that Samantha out to all of our clients. It's an voice AI sales assistant that essentially will book the call, right? Book that appointment for that homeowner. Okay. Anyway, so if that's the first thing that breaks, is really the intake system, is ensuring that you're capturing every lead that comes in. So that's the other thing, is your team even making enough touch points in the sales process? All right. Meaning that, are they following up enough? Are they following up, 10 times? Are they following up once? Are they following up 15 times? How many times are they following up? The latest research through Harvard Business Review that came out, I don't know, about a year ago at this point, says that you must be following up at least 15 times with every prospect. Okay. Until they close or tell you to go away. 15 times. That's the latest research. Okay. When I first went into business, it was 8 times. Now it's up to 15 times. Okay. It's getting harder to make sales. Okay. So make sure that you are following it up enough. The other question I have for you is your CRM even being properly used? I talked with a client this week that said that he wasn't sure how many times his staff was calling, right? That the salespeople were calling for following up, if they even were following up, okay, because they weren't in the CRM. his big push this next month is to get them all using AccuLinks, which is the CRM that they are using. Okay. Because in AccuLinks, you can make phone calls, you can make text messages, you can do text messages and SMS and stuff like that. So I would highly recommend that you make sure that you're using a CRM and that all of your staff, the expectations is for your staff to use that. Okay. All right. Next big topic is hurricanes. Hey, we are in hurricane season now, right? And if you're in the Gulf, if you're on the East Coast, heck, if you're even on the West Coast these days, right? It's game time. Is your messaging storm ready? Meaning, do you have Google Ads ready to go that when a hurricane does come through your service area, that they're ready to go? All right. We highly recommend that you do get those keywords set up for emergency repair, tarping, etc. Right. Beyond the other common things like roofing contractor, roofing company, and roof repair, you want to make sure that you're set up for success now. Set those campaigns up now and turn them on when it's time to turn them on. Google Business Profile, make sure that you have your updated services. You know, when was the last time you touched your Google Business Profile? Probably when you set it up, right? Well, guess what? They allow a lot more things now, right? If you set it up 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, there are a lot more things that have been added to Google Business Profile. Okay. Used to be known as Google My Business, now Google Business Profile. All right. Make sure that you've got your services updated and your service area, more importantly, updated in there as well. Social media, make sure that you have content ready to go. You don't want to be caught flat-footed here. Have those campaigns ready to go. And ready to just copy and paste and or just schedule out. Okay. There's lots of systems that you can schedule something out for later and have it ready to go, kind of a thing. Okay. So I would just make sure that you get your messaging ready. I would also highly recommend getting your website ready, because that's where most people are going to go to research you. Make sure that you have messaging that is ready to go if a hurricane is coming through your service area. Okay. The other thing to really look at, and this kind of goes along with the whole theme for today, is make sure your intake process is ready to respond quickly. Okay. If a hurricane comes through, and this happened with a roofing company in Florida last year that we work with, their main service areas, they've got 3 locations, was exactly where the hurricane went over. You know, electricity went out for almost a week. When that electricity came back on for that central Florida area, guess what happened? People started calling. They had over 2,000 phone calls within a couple of days, period. Are you ready for that? Can you even handle that? Right? Make sure that you start thinking through these things as a business owner, start thinking through these things right now and be prepared for that so that you can respond quickly. All right. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of Roofer Growth Hacks. I hope you enjoyed this episode and that you connect with me online, connect with roofingsites.com online, go to roofingsites.com and listen to any of our previous episodes. You can go to roofergrowthhacks.com and listen to all of our previous episodes. I also hope that you connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram, or you check out, our YouTube channel. Anywhere that you are, make sure that you give us a big gig'em thumbs up. I'm an Aggie here at Texas A&M University in College Station, Texas. So give me a big gig'em thumbs up. I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, roofingsites.com. Since 2018, roofingsites.com has helped roofers double their sales by getting their marketing right using the 4R roofing marketing system. If you're a roofing company owner wanting to grow your business, be sure to go to roofingsites.com and sign up for a roofing strategy session with us. Also, this past year, I published my book, The Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. If you're a roofing company owner and you don't have this book in your hands, I will send you a free digital copy. Just go to go.roofingsites.com and I'll send you a free copy of my book. Well, roofers, join me next time when we connect with another great roofing entrepreneur and learn how they hack their growth. Until then, I'm Chris Hunter. Thanks and gig 'em.